All right, we're going to do a review after 2 years of owning a Thor Sequence 20L. Let's talk about this for a little bit. So let's talk about things that are working fantastic and things that are not so much. But you know what? With every RV, there are things that are not going to work. Things are going to break as they go along, and that's just part of RVing life. However, maintenance is key. So let's talk about this. Number one, the NovaCool fridge has been fantastic. It's a 12-volt fridge. The lock has worked. I have not had any problems with that whatsoever, so I want to give a shout out to NovaCool and let them know that that little fridge has been awesome. Also, the High Point microwave convection oven has done a great job. Now, I don't use this all the time, but it has not have had any work done in 2 years. That's also another good plus. They have these amazing cabinets above that a lot of people have complained about because they don't have any locks on them. But I will say right now, I have not had a problem with my cabinets. So I'm going to just give those a plus because right now I'm a big fan of block cabinets. But you know what? I haven't had anything fall out of these, and I haven't had a problem putting heavy things up there, although I do normally put things in packing cubes anyways. The pneumatic cooktop has been fantastic. I haven't had a problem. I have been cooking some sausage and bacon things on it this past trip, which probably needs to be cleaned. But anyways, great cooktop, no problem, no issues on that one. Same thing with the sink, great sink, no issues on that. I did change the faucet. I think I mentioned that one earlier as well. And that's been a good thing because then I can actually wash my dishes and do things a little better when it comes to the sink. Now let's talk outlets for a second. So, we have our tower of power, which works great, especially when you're trying to charge things. And we have learned that that is connected to over here by the shorter bed, which has, of course, a GFCI outlet, which is nice. Now, the other issue when it comes to outlets, everything's working except, so these are down here are on all the time, just for the charging like of your cell phone and whatnot, and not the outlet, of course. But when it comes to charging your phone, down here, this has come loose quite a few times, and this has been an issue as far as trying to keep your phone charged and what you want to do. That's something that really does need to be worked on, and I know a lot of people who have issues with the wiring that have come loose. So that's something that will need to be addressed. All right, let's talk about the drawers. Drawers have been handy too. They both lock very well. They close very well. 2 years, not a problem with the drawers. Done a great job. Even the ones down here, good job on the drawers. So, you never know what you're going to get. And like I said, this is our 2-year checkup. Let's talk about a few more things. So the one thing I have had to do, we call this the pizza box up here. This is where I put my towels and washcloths and other things. It gets really super hot up here. And let me take one of these down so I can show you what I'm talking about. The headliner up here did tend to fall down. I did have to put a nice piece of duct tape up there. I used a flesh colored piece of duct tape, and it's worked out pretty well because if not, it was really sticky and gluey. So it's probably just based upon the heat. It does get really warm in here. So now we're solving that with a nice piece of duct tape. It isn't really what I consider to be something you can see very well, which is nice. So I put it further in the back, but I use it all the time. I use this pizza box all the time for, like I said, my towels and washcloths, and of course my window covers and things like that. So that's one thing that I have learned as far as temperature. You don't want to let your rig get too hot or too cold, because now we're going to talk about the seats. These are not truly, we'll call it leather. They're more like a leatherette. So I know a lot of people have had issues with these seats. I've had my seats covered pretty much with a seat cover for most of the 2 years I've had these. I just took them off because I want to check on condition. But most importantly, as you can see here we go. We have issues where it's starting to expand and contract, and it's actually falling apart. So the only place I have issues right now with the leatherette is on the armrest. So I have it on this one as well as on this one. Yep. So those will have to be replaced. But I think covering with the seats was a good idea. That's something I really would highly encourage as far as, especially if a dog or a cat or someone that's going to jump in your seats. So keeping them covered just to protect them is always a good idea. All right, let's keep going back here. So the Frolley system is fantastic. It keeps the moisture from, you don't want to have hard surface on another hard surface. It keeps the moisture from building up and things like that. However, these things are super hard to keep down. They're just sort of tacked in there, sort of like staple gunned in there, and they do catch on your bedding, things like that. So you got to make sure you just sort of monitor that and take care of that. Every couple months I have to take a look at that. So that's one thing I would say. Although it's fantastic, it's a bit of a pain, so make sure you guys check on that one. So in order to put the beds together, there are these bars down here that come out and they go across. They're aluminum bars. As you can see, there's a wooden dowel inside of them, and there's normally a little rubber piece that goes on the end. The rubber piece has fallen off. I don't know where it is. who knows, I probably lost on one of the first trips. But these do come out as you travel. So if I had to put some tape in here to hold them back, I just use painter's blue tape when I'm traveling, so that when I come back here, they don't fall out, and it keeps them up against the lovely bed frame. So that's been a handy thing. I'm not a huge fan of these. I really would like to see something a little more sturdy. I know a lot of people who sleep, I'll call it east-west versus north-south, have had some experience with these. I don't find them to be extremely able to hold a lot of weight. And as you take a look down here, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I might go this one. I think this one is already starting to, or maybe it's the other one, has started to splinter in areas. Here we go. Here we go. Here's one that started to splinter. As you can tell, when you pull it out enough, it's just very, very thin paneling, and therefore can cause some issues. So this would be something that I would look to product development to come up with another idea as far as connecting these beds if you're going to keep the same kind of floor plan. So flooring wise, I noticed a few months into it that there were some spots on the floor, and honestly I've had area rugs to cover this up, and I took it in to the maintenance shop for them to take a look at this, and they've put, of course, a ticket into Thor to ask them to replace the flooring. In order to do that, this is a very large undertaking. A lot of stuff has to come out of here, and they'll have to redo it, and not looking forward to that. But this is supposedly adhesive that they put on that's actually soaked through the vinyl that they'll have to replace and put brand new flooring in. So as I walk in the bathroom, everything in the bathroom has been fantastic. I did change, of course, I think I talked about this before, I changed the shower head because I want to make sure I have a shower head that I can turn on and off. And I did have a problem with the fan. So the fan got things wrapped around it at one time. I just got that fixed. It was a bit of a pain. But other than that, the bathroom's been fantastic. No real issues, no leaks, and the plastic liner has been fine, no cracks, nothing like that. Now I have had to replace the pedestal once, and that was because there was a crack in it when I lifted it up, and it was a real problem. This one's been fine. However, when I got this one back, it already had some smudges on the side of the paint, the lacquer that came off. I wasn't really happy about that. So that, you know, it could be replaced, but at the point in time, I just really needed a desk. So we're going to keep it the way it is and use it. So it's been pretty good. But I do have to keep a towel or something in here because in the space, it does rattle when you drive. So I will put something in there like a washcloth or something so that holds it back, just to keep that noise from happening. Trim has been an issue, and I know we've been talking about things that stay put. Initially, when I got this trim piece was really loose, and I've glued it back a few times. And of course, you know, when you're pulling on the door and things like that, I don't have this super tight, but I can have it tight. When I travel, it's not too bad. But that piece of trim, I've had some issues with. Also had some issues when it comes to like, I'll pull this up a little bit, like weather stripping. Weather stripping comes out because of the temperature inside and outside. So when it comes to the molding for these need to be fixed. That'll be on the list as well. That's not uncommon for a rig that's 2 years old as well, but something you just got to do. All right, let's talk TV and electronics. So the TV has been working. However, as you can see, I have electrical tape on the corners here, and that is because the little screws have come out. As you jostle and jerk around and travel all over the United States, that has been a pain. I've tried to find ones that fit exactly, but honestly, the electrical tape has worked really well, so I'm not complaining on that. I have had some issues with the Android tablet as far as rebooting it, getting it reset. About I'd say every 2 or 3 months, I have to reboot the whole entire thing. The app, the RV Master app that works on my phone has been doing great, but the Android tablet inside, not so much. So that might be something to think about down the road. I know everyone wants things on apps, but I would almost prefer just to have a good old-fashioned button. All right, when it comes to the exterior of the rig, everything seems to be fine. The only thing that I've had a trouble with is, I'll call it user error. The bike rack has worked out really, really well. So has the roof rack, really enjoyed that. And coming around this side, I haven't lost or had any problems with any of the, I won't say lids, but caps for all my fill things, my sewer hose, everything's worked out really well. The only thing that was my user error was this unfortunately had to be replaced. So it's not gray, it doesn't match the entire van, but it's 30 amp plug and cover for that. I had to replace that. I've also had to replace new tires. Of course, it's already 46,000 miles, and that is something that would definitely need to be replaced anyways. They were factory tires, and they did last that long, which is pretty impressive considering. So I have all 4 brand new tires, and it rides like a dream. So my overall impression after 2 years is, number one, I always say we talk about chassis first and coach second. So chassis-wise, I've done a few things on we've had to replace the alternator at 25,000 miles. And that's really about it, other than oil changes. We haven't had a lot of really big issues, which I'm really excited about. And coach-wise, of course, we've had a few things to deal with, but other than the ones I mentioned, she's been really good. So, you know, when it comes to like getting things out of a scale of 1 to 10, I would say we're like at an 8. So that's not too bad for having a rig for 2 years. I think that's fantastic. So if you own a van, let me know in the comments below what kind you have. And if you're looking to buy a van or get a conversion, let me know what you're thinking about that as well. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions after my 2 years of van life.